What's up, people? It is 2024. Yes, we made it, baby. Happy to have all of you who are watching the video right now, and hopefully you are all finding this year in very good health. And yeah, not having the biggest expectation of 2024 being like, yes, this year's going to be the one where we make it. That is until 2024 pulls out the big old guns and just smack you down to the ground and humbles you. No, but seriously, I'm just very happy to see another year. I'm not really the type to have like wishes for the upcoming year, things that I want to improve, the whole new year, new me. It's just another rotation of the earth around the sun. But if there's one thing that I always strive to do is being better than the day before, and striving to do less wrong things and say more true things. And in that effort to start the year, we're going to be focusing on drama. No, but I'm not talking about the type of drama that is just filled with nuclear-grade cringe, where you have people constantly acting like NPCs.
Wow, is that a galaxy? And for those, I might make it back to my own universe.
What in the world does that even mean?
No, this is more related to stuff about misinformation and disinformation led by individuals who are acting like NPCs. And to kick us off, let me just mention two of the biggest dramas that happened last year. Just for a quick notice, if you do not mind my long intro, because I'm certainly going to be dragging this out a little bit, I will try to do my best to separate the video into chapters, so just click below to get to the part that you would prefer. Primarily was the Jax Film vs Sniper Wolf situation that reinvigorated the conversation about reaction videos, what content as good or bad reactions, ethical or illegal, but also turned everybody into a legal expert with regards to the favoritism that YouTube had towards sniper wolves. This situation was quite interesting because I can't exactly exclude myself from it, because that's mainly what I do on the channel, reaction videos, and it had me questioning a lot of things, some of my own decisions, because there are, after all, a lot of people who, well-meaning, I suppose, come to the channel sometime wanting to defend their favorite content creators by asking me why I'm stealing their content, whether or not they are aware that the content creators actually allowed me to react to their stuff, or I just overall okay with it. But it was also a thing that allowed me, and I guess a lot of other content creators out there, to reflect on what was truly transformative, what was actually additive to the content that made it so that it was a bit more interesting to watch and perhaps not just a re-upload of the video. Now, I urge myself to try to do that a bit more as best as I can. Sometimes I succeed by transforming a 16-minute long video to something that was almost an hour and a half long, condensed obviously, or sometimes it happens that I don't do that much transformation to the video, and I'm sorry for that. But the sum of the situation was that it had a lot of people up in arms, raging against YouTube to do something about it, but the situation mostly died down by the end of the year. Or at least that would have been the case if it wasn't for a video that was uploaded on the 3rd of December. Where Bomber Guy rose from his slumber, much like listening to fucking Aqua during a screening of the Hollywood blockbuster Barbie. And very much like that movie, he came in gunning for everybody, be it video game reviewers, drama channels, true crimes, would-be informative channels, some of the goodest boys, and lastly but very prominent lefties who were exploiting the works of their LGBT allies. The Bomber Guy video laid bare a symptom that we already knew, but put an emphasis on the dangers of content mills. Because these content creators are so adamant at producing as much content as they can and as quickly as possible, they not only sacrifice quality for quantity, but oftentimes deliver information that is straight up misinformed. And what do you know, they often do that by plagiarizing the work of other people. And if misinformation wasn't enough, there is the outright hurt that they cause on the original creators of the content that they stole, the delegitimization of the groups that they claim to support, and of course the whole thing from getting fat stacks from stealing from their audiences through their Patreons. Now, while Sniper Wolf react videos and Bomber Guy plagiarism were the big hit of last year, I think that there was a third one that many people did not mention. I did some stream with some folks, but didn't quite get through actually making a video about it. Which is why, much like the people who come commenting to, I guess, defend their favorite content creators, I also want to highlight the work of one that I appreciate quite a lot. I'm talking about Kyle Hill. Now, Kyle is a science educator, possible L'Oreal model, and Dolph Lundgren's best friend. That is for the people who've been following the channel that he was previously affiliated to. Those were the days. As an educator who, like many on the platforms, creates a lot of engagement through scientific and often also pop scientific content, he is very good at making science available to the wider public through the use of video games, recent news, or movies. For example, I did check out his video on Dead Space and the Fermi Paradox, a pretty good one. Check that out. Mine, or of course his, on the channel. But evidently, to the content mill issue, he did raise something to the attention of YouTube some 7 months ago.
Watch what happens when I type James Webb Space Telescope into the search bar here. Notice anything? The exact same offending channels that we've been going through, indexing higher in the algorithm than even 60 Minutes, BBC, or the actual James Webb Space Telescope. This is a real, growing problem. And no, that's not God.
But Kyle, some of you might be saying, what if I like my science videos written and read by robots over stolen footage?
Well, first of all, I'd say, fun voice, keep going with it. Second of all, I don't think these channels and the videos they're in are actually the equivalent of just trash TV or tabloids. I think these channels are actively harmful. They miss and disinform the public, and I care about that kind of thing.
The point of his video was raising awareness towards science scam channels, the likes that you most likely have come upon sometimes, the like that are tailor-made with obnoxious thumbnails, crazy titles, and always lead in with the most bot-like voice that you've ever heard. Personally, I came upon them the first time, I think a couple of years ago, with regards to the Apophis asteroid, the one that many were losing their minds over, thinking that the world was going to end in 2029. I was thinking at the time to use that as a great case to show some astrophysics exercises to some students with regards to the movement of heavenly bodies, but yeah, I stumbled on one of those videos and my god, like, I can cut the description pretty short. They are the equivalent of like the anti-woke crowd with the way that they design their videos. You know, with like the war jacks where they mostly focus on having certain characters that you recognize all the time, like that poor angry lady who actually was never angry but was just like caught off guard through a random shot, where in this case they often feature the likes of Elon Musk, Michio Kaku, or some other famous scientists with the background of some alien stuff or something exorbitant that is going to have you puzzling. Is this supposed to be like a conspiracy theory? No, that's exactly what the problem is. That would be fine if it was like on a meme channel or something that was supposed to be for funsies. Because I've watched some AI videos, they can be pretty damn fun. When you're posing yourself as being an educational channel that is meant to be truly informative, that's when I have an issue with it. And because it all comes with rampant misinformation and disinformation. And I guess that this is where we need to like have definition in place. Misinformation are often described as partially true or wholly untrue information presented as facts, whereas disinformation is untrue information presented as true to mislead an audience, and that often to push a certain ideology. And like, to be fair, at first glance when watching some of those videos, like, you can get like a good chuckle out of it, in the same way that Kyle, I think, did express in his video on it when he just scrolled through a bunch of thumbnails for certain of those videos.
The Kaku, front page. Joe Rogan, front page. Kaku, front page. Joe Rogan, multiple times on the front page. Ooh, oh, the Rogue. Doing pretty good. Nope, Rogan. Ooh, this channel, it doesn't seem like they're spamming any sort of Kaku or Rogan. Surely if I go further, it's not like I'm gonna find something. You got a Musk. This is not what happened to her. This is not Christina Ricci. That nose is photoshopped. That baby is made to look like a baby from Avatar. She's not sleeping with her cobra, that's a python. That's Titanoboa. It did not exist at the same time as humans. No one ever caught that thing. That skeleton is too big. Jet Li doesn't look like that anymore. No one rides spiders. This woman is not Snoke.
While these videos are clearly an insult to anybody's intellect and are likely to reduce the IQ of people watching it down to room temperature, what they do even worse is in the way that the content they make are being produced. Where James Somerton was plagiarizing content from queer, gay and asexual authors and passing it all under the overarching word of LGBT, he was easily identifiable with at least, I guess, what modicum of personality he had to him. It was that one guy that you could pin down. Similarly with Illuminati, Blair's voice was passing the bar just enough to be considered a Google Assistant reject, and while she, just as bad as Somerton, was just straight up ripping off documentaries word for word, the footage that would be put on her videos and also those of Somerton would at least be matching enough to make it seem like it was something original. Right? It fooled a lot of us. But when it comes to these scam science channels though, they do not care. They are just like this mix goo of verbal mumbo jumbo and the footage that barely match. They create videos through an automated process that makes use of generative AI, voice modulation and also trained AI voices to pump out content at such an exorbitant rate, and YouTube falls for it. Because this is what the algorithm satisfies. They are getting just enough to get by to keep on pumping more. And to them, it wouldn't really matter if they are getting copyright struck, if somebody is filing a charge against them, because they are producing just so much that you can barely keep up. And that is essentially the hope that they are engaging with. By overwhelming the platform with this deluge of misinformation and disinformation, they can keep on just pumping a bunch of bullshit and monetize enough, and people will not care. YouTube does not care, because some of the biggest offenders, despite them being called out consistently, are still thriving. One of the biggest one will be the likes of the Riddle channel. Watch just some of the thumbnails in there and tell me that how can people still be clicking on stuff like this? Clicking on any of these videos will show you just how little engagement that they have. They are a content mill. They are all in there for the views. But for the few individuals who actually end up commenting, you can just see the rampant just lunacy that they keep pushing forth. It lays way for every conspiracy nut job to feel validated. And look, I understand the situation of how YouTube operates. The unfortunate nature of how the algorithm is. It pushes a lot of content on us, and it is often difficult to discern what is true from what is false. And I say that as somebody who has tried to teach kids in high school and primary school. They are capable of critical thinking, despite what I guess TikTok might want you to believe. But when it is done on this magnitude, what do you think is going to be recommended first when they search for something important? The relevant content made by somebody who has done a lot of inquiries, a lot of research for a long time, the likes of Kyle Hill, or a channel that uses bot voices like this one. But Kyle is but one of the type of channel that they go after. You have the likes of Kurskusat, obviously one of the biggest science channel on the platform, Real Engineering, Real Life Law. Those types are constantly, I know the last one was not much about exclusively science related, but they also do that for things about social issues, wars, geography, all of that. It's insane. In Kyle's latest video titled Suing YouTube Science Scammers, he brings forth somebody who has truly been putting a lot of effort into mitigating and straight up stopping this rampant content theft. And this is actually an individual that I stumbled on my own a few months ago as I was playing Just Cause 4.
You what?
I know, total random tangent. Playing Just Cause 4, one of the Just Cause games of all time, as I was writing a script for a video that I hope that I might be able to make this year, on one of the greatest hobbies that the Americans have, being storm chasers. Now, naturally, I have limited knowledge on hurricanes, and there's only so much that I can learn from a book regarding the personal experiences that storm chasers can have. So naturally, I went on Netflix and watched one of the many documentaries on the type of things, and one of them was Earthstorm, that features Brennan Clement. And Brennan is doing one of the most insane things ever. Like, unlike when I will, for example, attempt to explain something to you guys and go on a site like Invento Element, this is not a sponsorship, this is just the one that I have, to find some stock footage and then show you just where exactly a storm is coming. This guy does it IRL, goes on the field and takes on footage that nobody has ever seen. Hearing how his content is taken, uncredited, and the amount of time that it is used was insane.
Having started this company and working with your clients, what do you think is the true scale of the problem here? It's hard to see on the front end, but now that you've done some investigating on the back end, how big is this issue?
We started off with weather channels doing nothing but weather, and they were just spamming the same weather videos over and over and over again with these outrageous headlines and outrageous thumbnails. Same thing you're seeing with the science spam, we're seeing on the weather spam. Yeah. This is true across aviation, it's true across history, it's every aspect of every genre on YouTube is now being spammed like this.
And the magnitude of this scam operation is something that I think is on an equal footing to anything that has ever been found by the likes of Midnight SB or Cam's Call Payback that you may have seen on YouTube for those scam call centers. It is truly massive. I am mainly raising this up because I have, through some reaction videos, spent a lot of time trying to inform some people on my personal field of study, which is physics, and more specifically astrophysics, right? And it is disheartening to see, especially the rampant misinformation, but of course also when people's content, the likes of Kyle's, is just taken by these people and passed as was it their own, where he goes to the effort of flying over to this location, recording footage that has not been seen by anybody, doing it all for the sake of charity. Not as a case as showing the opinion, not crediting the content creators themselves. It is really bad. So there's a message that Kyle left at the end of his video. I highly recommend that you go and watch the full length of his video. It is very good and it's very informative on this topic. So please do me a good one and go show him some love. And of course also, if you are interested in storms, you should also check out some of Brennan Clement's content. That being said, thank you so much for checking out this video. This was kind of my I don't know, a public service video for the beginning of the year, because I too would like to focus a little bit more on some science related stuff in the coming year. I want to do a lot more game reviews and all, but like science with a twist with gaming. That would be fun. But yeah, I think that it's more important for me to call out things like that so that you don't waste your time. That's the most valuable currency that we have today. So yeah, if something is entertaining for you, sure, be entertained. But when it comes to information, at least find it from the right sources. That being said though, see you guys in the next one. Bye.